Hello, we're Geeks Assembled, and I'm joined as usual by Susan and
Hello.
Lee. Hello, there's a bit of a delay. You see, Susan's in America, I'm in the UK. You know what the satellites are like with the communications. Oh no, we're not living in the 80s, are we now? I wish we were.
No, no. This is the time that frame that we're actually living in is the Middle Ages,
Yeah,
and doesn't matter that it looks like an apartment block built in the 70s or the 60s or whatever. This
well,
is this is uh this is the Middle Ages, right?
we'll see. Susan's sort of hinting at things of what we're going to be discussing. This week we are talking about a British TV series, a one-off, just 7 episodes long, which was broadcast in the middle of 1977. Um, and when it was broadcast, I was only 7 years old, and it sort of stuck with me, this one, because it's
Okay, good.
supposed to be a children's TV show, but the I don't know, the imagery, the feel of
The
it,
vibe.
the vibe of it was more dark,
Ah,
more sort of scary, and this is why the TV channel didn't put it on with the normal children's TV shows. They put it on a later time, on a Sunday evening. Um, and this was also written by two Doctor Who aficionado writers, Bob Baker and
Dave Martin.
yes, you got it, Susan. They wrote this 7 episode series, a
Uh-huh.
story of a young boy clashing with society and living in a high rise block. We are talking King of the Castle. Um, as I say, it's a dark fantasy, sometimes not macabre, but very gothic, eerie tale. Um, yeah, it's about a boy who was bullied by the teachers, bullied by the kids on the stairs of the apartment block, ignored by the parent, and he gets trapped in a lift. And this is where he goes down the proverbial rabbit hole, shall we say? Very Alice in Wonderland esque. This story. So we're going to go over to Susan and discuss King of the Castle. Over to you,
Yeah.
sir.
So yeah, you show that mug, and I was like, this must be fandom. You must have been like, I see that. It makes me harken back to this show that I saw when I was like seven. Saw this, and it as someone who has grown up and has decided that I would leverage my strength to stand for the downtrodden of society, the less represented, the less powerful. That those images and those sort of realities must have been part of the knee-jerk reaction to just purchase that mug. Anyway, of course, just another mug from the shops, but Lee, you gotta admit that this has a big impact. It is like Alice in Wonderland, and it also is like Wizard of Oz in that each stage he meets someone who is represented the same as in his own home and in his own school, represented in this alternate reality that happens as he opens the cage of a lift that is collapsed. In America, we call them elevators, but this lift has broken free of its brakes and has completely crashed through the reality barrier at the base of the thing, and he doesn't even after they've used the manual winch to raise it up to the first level. They see that the floor isn't broken, the ceiling isn't broken, but the kid is missing. So it was sort of uh, a transitional space between worlds, much like the house in Wizard of Oz, the rabbit hole in Alice in Wonderland, or the wardrobe in Narnia, or even the angry sort of first staircase in Attack the Block. There are aspects of all of those shows, or perhaps it informed the latter ones and was inspired by the former ones. It's it is a piece of 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 that fantasy world. There's each level that he achieves, he fights somebody new, and then eventually he has to fight the boss, who is his father,
Mm-hmm.
who is represented by the king of the castle, who he defeats. And this is from the 70s. There are no spoilers, but he defeats every single level on different purposes. And when he finally defeats his father, the aspects of that battle come to represent how he defeats the school, his parents, and the rest on the outside of the lift. I enjoyed it. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it a lot. There
Is,
are
is this you've never seen it before then?
no, I've never seen it before, and but Alex and I were watching the first couple of episodes together, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, those are some seriously, what getting up super close to too close, too close." And then he's like, "Yeah, that's what they call an extreme close up." And with the mother like this much of her face in extreme close up, that was kind of jarring. And it was like she was the least powerful character, so all those like bare boundaries were just gone through. So it was really interesting. And yeah, so first time watched it, had watched it with Alex. He was noticing some things, I was noticing some things, and it was interesting that it was written by Baker and Martin,
Mm-hmm.
and but it had three different directors: Harding, Hammond, and White. And like I didn't know anything that they'd done, but there's plenty of Doctor Who actors in this little bit of telly. So anyway, I was just like amazed. Yeah. So over to you. What's your opening thoughts, Lee?
Well, as I said before, this one sort of when I was 7, I remember seeing this on a Sunday evening at my grandmother's house, and it sort of stuck with me. But over the years, it's the memory sort of faded, and there was just little memories of this about the haunting theme song,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and Catherine Thomas as Mr. Vane in his
Oh
dark,
yeah.
in his dark top hat and with the large set of keys. That imagery always stuck with me, and the elevator down to the dungeon.
And
Um,
how and what he was sort of tarted up and with bright red lipstick.
the sort of white face, red lipstick, top hat, dark, an Undertaker's attire. But yeah, that so the imagery stuck with me until maybe I don't know 5, 10 year ago. I got a copy of the
Oh,
series, physical copy, and I sort of fell in love with it again. And as you said, there's plenty of actors in this what have been in other things. I mean, you said Telford Thomas, famous Welsh actor, most famous for his teeth, of course, because he had big crooked teeth and did Telford. And as you say, he's been in several of the Doctor Who episodes.
hmm.
You also had Fulton Mackay as Hotspur and Spurgeon, the headmaster. Most
Yeah.
fam- most famous for playing Mr. Mackay in Porridge.
So that's why the name was, it was the same name as his.
Yeah, and also he appeared in Doctor Who in the Silurians.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, then we had Milton Johns playing Hawker and Ergon the monster. He
Ergon.
Ergon, yeah, Milton Johns. He's been in many British TV series, including Doctor Who several times.
Yeah, wasn't he like in like 20 different episodes of Doctor Who?
The stories that I remember off the top of my head, he was in. Um, I think it was the Invasion of Time.
Uh-huh.
I think, and he was also in the Android Invasion.
Yeah.
I'm sure he played the astronaut with the eye patch. Um, those are the two off the top of my head. Um, yeah. Who else did we have? Jamie Foreman, a very young Jamie Foreman playing Ripper and the Warrior, a well-known actor these days, stage, screen, and of many and plenty of movies. Also appeared in Doctor Who, in
Yeah.
the modern Who, the Idiot's Lantern.
Yep.
Uh, so you had all these familiar faces, but for me, it was Roland's the young kid Philip da Costa, Roland's because we don't know because it's not really answered at the end of this. Did it really happen, or was he unconscious and dreamt it all, or is he still in the fantasy world and he never escaped? Um, because at the end of it, he's on trial, just like Alice was. He was on trial in the courtroom, and that's it's sort of all swelling, fading, and all the jury disappears. There's no witnesses, all like that. It seems to go all weird, and you don't get any real answers. But the story is about him climbing his way up. The tower block is sort of a metaphor for the society climbing up the society life of from the bottom to the top. You work your way up. You've got to keep going up. And it's the bullies, the teachers, what he has to face in real life, what appear as other characters in the dark world. Um, yeah, so it's a bit of an ambiguous ending because he asks his dad to call him Roland, and then his dad just looks at him strangely and just goes, "Yeah," and that's the end. Um, did he did, did he come out a better person from his experience? We don't know. Or as I say, is he still down there at the bottom of the tower, at the bottom of the castle? We don't know.
I don't think he is because he was throwing away all of the things that he used to rely on for his ultra rich fantasy life.
Mhm.
And
But
so he'd obviously had enough of a, you know, divergent experience.
yeah, but it's I just like the ending. I think you can make up your own sort of
Of
ending.
course, certainly, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was sort of left open ended. Um, is he going to be a much better person now, or is he just going to go back to normal life as before, being bullied by the kids on the stairs, or you just don't know. I like that. So the acting, it's just you go from one seriousness, that the sort of strict schooling, and then you see the alternate of the headmaster as the surgeon who wants to create life. He wants to steal Roland's voice. You think, well,
Hmm.
but that's because the voice part was because he was in the choir,
Hmm.
and so you're getting all the connections by both worlds, which I
Hmm.
like. It's a lot of connections here.
Yeah.
So, Susan,
That's
have
what
a
I
bit more
thought.
say. Go on then.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like there was a sort of a fighting this adversary and that adversary and this adversary and that adversary and after all is said and done, fighting the big boss.
Mm. But uh,
Because like the when he was in the kitchen, they weren't actually cooking.
no,
They weren't cooking food. They were just chopping things up and throwing them on the floor
and he was sweeping up, putting it in the bin. That was going back into the pot.
in the pot. Yeah, and so and then there was just
Well, that's a statement.
the gravy and the mash, the
Yeah,
gravy and
that,
the mash.
that's a statement on working for a living. You don't feel like you're getting anywhere. You're just doing it over and over and over again. It's a commentary on the society back in 1977.
Yeah, but so
And
was
it's a kids program.
so was the woman in who looked a lot like maybe Mother in
It
a
was it,
way.
it was the same actress playing it.
I know, but I mean
Yeah.
and she was
The lady, the lady, as she
the
was called.
lady, and she was supposed to like there was part of that was like psychosexual, and part of that was like emotional manipulation and all of that. The battle of the sexes, the battle of over your own need for companionship, and
Mm.
her wanting to shrink people down and make them manageable, kind of like his mother always wanted to shrink her husband down and her son down so that they were manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the way
Well,
that she was going to dress him.
mm,
I mean, just like a toddler, that little frilly onesie suit. It was very infantile for
I mean, also as well, you've got Mr. Vine and Mr. Vane, the keeper of the keys. That's uh, about the underdog, the caretaker, wanting to better himself.
yeah.
He's He's always on the, he's the holder of the keys, but nobody thinks anything about him. You don't think any highly of him. And his alter ego,
Right.
Mister Vane, wants to be top dog. So he's
Hmm.
playing Roland all the
Right.
way through, which is, you could, the characters in this are so well done.
Yeah, they have a lot of there's a lot of personality to everybody.
And I think
Um,
it adds to it as well that it's the lighting, it's dark, dark and dingy in the castle, but it's also dark and dingy in the tower block.
and it was dark and dingy in the school as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's and mostly that's because the young kid Roland, that's how he was seeing life. Dark, being picked on it. Everything was dark. But yeah, I enjoyed rewatching this, and
Yeah, and the other thing that was really interesting about it was when he got to the when he got to that one that was creating life, the doctor,
yeah,
you know, there was it was all science. There was like this and this were described as like super solutions of which would grant charisma and freedom and stuff, and like that was really, it was like what would he had Frankenstein's monster.
yeah, Aegon, yeah.
That was one of his no, the uh the kid had
Oh,
Frankenstein.
the toy, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean he was used to seeing Frankenstein's monster as a um let's see, he was used to seeing Frankenstein's monster as a needy person, um and somebody who was created as a monster. And so the the Frankenstein's monster that was the 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 castle, you know, king was hang on a second, one moment, please. Um,
It was the monster was played by it was Aegon, wasn't it? By Milton John.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the
Milton
Milton John who played Aegon and Hawker, but
Hucker.
also as well the section where they meet Mr. Vosey and it's a lot of bureaucracy with all the paperwork.
Oh yeah, he needed this.
You needed this permit to do this, but you need to so go see for someone to get this, and that was also a comment on the way of life. Again, you got to do this, you got to do this, you've got to follow the rules, you've got to do, and that hasn't really changed in this day and age. You just go round and round in circles before you get any answers.
And I mean it was done sort of lightheartedly. Um, and I mean, other folks have done sort of that. The Vogons in Hitchhiker's Guide, um, I I I think that we experience a little of that uh when you go to the Social Security Administration or the Internal Revenue Service. Um, it's just so much documentation. It could,
Yeah,
and when you try to rent a housing authority flat in the U.S., it's a sincere chunk of documentation, and that can be daunting, especially.
oh,
And
I know.
as you're growing up, you think that it's fairly simple, straightforward. Things are, but it's moments like that bureaucracy that show that it isn't going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, as well, once Roland becomes king of the castle, he tries to change everything for the better,
Hmm.
make life easier for the people in the castle.
Hmm.
And what they turn on him. They
I
don't
know.
they don't want to change. We're stuck in our ways. And
Hmm.
that happens still today in the workplace or wherever you know that this is the rules, this is how you got to do it, or we're not changing. And and it's I say it's a great commentary this show. Um, Clever how they did it. I mean, I think
Very clever.
when I watched this, I was 7. All that lot went over my head at the time.
I bet.
You know, I just let you know it was just dark and a bit of an fantasy, you know, adventure for the young kid in the show.
And there was like a fantasy element of it that was reaching in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's. I mean, it's become a very big cult TV series in the UK. Um, it was sort of the first of its kind, and I don't think it's ever been sort of done again in that sort of fashion. So
Attack the Block, though,
that's a
where
movie.
each level, well, where each level is a
I'm on about a TV series for
okay,
children.
but each level's a different, different adversary.
Yeah, but this was meant for kids, young kids.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I don't think it's been attempted since really to be that dark. So, anything else, Susan?
Yeah, the other thing was like the music was really annoying at first, and then and the minute it just got to be completely, I got really tired of it. They stopped playing it so much, so that was good. Like they knew that they had a limit with that, so that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and yeah, and then the I mean the cinematography was like, the extreme close-ups at the beginning resolved into more, standard uh establishing, and then the other, but I mean, it was so dark. Yeah, it was a lot of chiaroscuro, and that's true. And yeah, Roland deciding he didn't want to be called Ro. I don't know. That was interesting.
Mm,
And the way his father, like, you know, his father noticed him at the end and was like, okay.
yeah,
It's like he went through a huge rite of passage, a huge self voyage of self-discovery in an hour and a half, or 2.5 hours stuck
yeah,
in an alternate reality. But it must have felt like for Roland that it was like days and days and days
Well,
because of
yeah,
the
you don't know how long he was there, do we? Really?
in subjective experience. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You get the feeling that it felt like longer to him.
Mm.
May have been that Narnia whole thing.
Yeah, because he's been locked up, he's been put to work, become king, making new rules and regulations. So yeah, anything else, Susan?
Um, no, that's pretty much it. You?
No, no, I think I think we both covered most of the stuff. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so shall we go final say and score?
sure. I
Go
will
on then. Over to
give
you.
I will give this nine uh nine broken elevator lifts out of 10, and yeah, just enjoyed it. It was a good watch. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. For me, it just it's very nostalgic for me. This one, as I say, it brings back a lot of memories from being small. So for me, it get it's yeah okay. It's 1977. The fashion is a bit dated. The effects are a little bit dated, but for me, it still stands up story wise and acting. So for that reason, it gets 10 dirty rascals out of 10 for me. And if you know the song King of the Castle,
Yeah.
you're the dirty rascal. Um, yeah, it's a fun watch. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, Susan. First time watching it. Um, you guys out there,
Ripper rules.
Ripper Road. Not much of a bully, was he? He was a bit of a coward, wasn't he, at the end of it?
At the end, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys, if you've seen this, King of the Castle from 1977, um, let us know by leaving a comment on the video. Tell us what you thought of it. Also, if you want to be on the videos we do or join our group, leave a comment on any of our videos and we'll try and get you on. You've got to be 18 and over, have a working camera and microphone and device you've got, and we'll try and get you on. And also, if you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, please remember to press the bell notification button and you will get notified every time we put up a video. So, is that it, Susan?
Yeah. That's
Cool.
it.
So, that's our first cast of this week. So, until next time, guys, please be safe out there. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.